Tommy here from Amped Up Outdoors, doing some pan fishing with bust on bait stingers and getting some little chunky bass in the process. Caught a crappie first cast and decided, you know what, I'm going to do a little filming today and show you a technique of using your depth finder to find fall panfish and some little chunky bass. So stay tuned. Hopefully have a good video for you. All right, guys, I'm out here in the middle of the pond, and there's some grass beds that grew up with all the recent rain that we had. Tends to just make some of these islands tend to pop up some grass, and these fish really like to hang around it. As you can see, there's some little guys pecking. I'm gonna have to downsize my bobber a bit, but they're definitely hungry. They're on the feed already, and you know, there we go. It's bluegill action. I missed that one. I'm gonna put a smaller bobber on real quick. Got a Mr. Crappie pear-shaped bobber on. It's just a tad too big for my liking, so I'm gonna see if I can find me one that's just right. It sticks under the surface a little bit. That's okay. That will be just fine and dandy. All right, so we downsized to about one of those little 1.5-inch jobs, and let's see what we can do with that. Water's about 4 foot out there, and of course that one's just a little too small. Yeah, definitely. No, you can't see that bobber out there, so. All right, so to make it better on film, I'm actually going to use the bigger bobber just so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Because that is not going to work for you guys or myself. I can't see that. So we'll go with the bigger bobbers. All good. Bigger bobber, bigger fish. That would be nice if that were true. Alright, let's try to get back over there. There we go. Now, I don't want to fish too close to the island, so I'm back a good ways. I'm a good 25 feet away from that island. Gilberts are having fun with me over there. Got my lead about 2 feet from the bobber to the jig, and I'm using a dark colored Bust 'em Stinger. It's black with some green speck in it, and kind of mimics the minnows that are in this pond. Some shad. All right, guys, as you can see, it's October. The vegetation is dying off. The fish are going to congregate to those areas that are still around, but they're going to be going into a little bit deeper water. They'll come up shallow to feed, but they're going to hunker down a little bit deeper water than they would normally be in the summertime, especially in these little ponds here that I'm fishing today. Got a little bit of current here. It's fed by a creek. I'm going to go up to a spot that I fished last fall and got on some nice crappies up to about 13 inches or so. So stick around. I'm going to try to get up here in the spot. I'm not sure how the current's going to react because we did get a lot of rain recently, and it's already kind of pushing me about. You know, I got the trolling motor on, trying to hunker down and get in a spot and see if I can catch some fish. But right now I'm only in 3 feet of water, but it's going to drop down to about 5 or 6 feet up here in the opening of this creek, and we'll see if we can mark some fish on a depth finder, and I'll be able to show it to you. So stay tuned. Well, I just had a bite here, fellas, and gotta tell you, it's a little rougher than I thought. Getting a lot of short strikes with the bluegills, I think, but these fish are really hanging near the bottom in this moving water. And unless I put a heavier jig on, and I'm probably going to get hung up a ton, which I don't intend on doing, just because there's so much wood that floats down in this creek, and that's why the fish are here. But the water's just moving a little bit too much to keep the lighter jig in the strike zone. But we're going to try to get one here on the camera here, just so I can show you that there are some nice fish in these ponds. Boy, that water's moving good. I'll try to lower my jig a little bit. Put it down about 4 foot. It's about 5 foot there, so still be off the bottom. I got it down about 3.5 foot. Let's see what we got. They really don't want to come up for it. Boy, oh boy. Tough fishing, tough fishing. Alright guys, unless this is a bass, which it is. Thought I had me a nice crappie on there. Little chunky bass. I'll take it. I'll take it every day. All day on ultralight. That's fun. Little chunk. Got some leaves and everything else down this gullet. Alright. We'll let them back. Little football. Little stinger. Now folks, that's what we're trying to catch right there. Some nice old crappies. That's what we're trying to get. That's what we're trying to get. He inhaled that sucker. Inhaled it. Alright guys, here's what's the deal right here. Today, I'm fishing with, these are called shad poles. And I'm using different colors. I'm using a variation of dark and light to see if it makes a difference. These fish are feeding so heavy right now, it really isn't making much of a difference because I'm drift fishing. And I apologize for the wind, but that's how I'm drifting, is with the wind. Turning my boat, my kayak sideways, and going over the pads and the edges of the weeds here, and only like 3 to 4 feet of water. I'm letting the wind do all the work. I'm just going back with my trolling motor right now to get back up to the top of the pads that I've been hitting some decent yellow perch on. So nothing fancy. I mean, it's just that time of year where these fish are starting to school up. The weeds are dying off. The fish are still hanging around the weeds that are there, and the water temperature's gone up about 3 degrees since I've been here in just a couple hours. So I mean, they are really hitting good. I'm catching crappie, I'm catching bluegill, a couple bass, some pickerel, and it's a fun day of fishing. So I'm going to get back up here. I'm going to show you the depth finder and what I meant about rating your depth finder and learning where the fish would be in these mill ponds, because it is kind of tricky to spot fish on it because you're only fishing in, like I say, 3 or 4 feet of water. But it's not really so much the fish you're looking for, it's the grass and the weed and the temperature, and it'll show you that the temperature is actually warmer on the bottom where the weed is, and that'll be a really red line. And right now I'm in 3 feet of water. Pretty crazy. But I'm way away from where I want to be, so Bear with me. Fish are just stacked up in there in this little spot. It's in the middle part of the lake. Shouldn't call it a lake, but it's really just a mill pond. And I am the only one here fishing today. I had the day off of work, and it's been good. It's been a good day of fishing. I'm not complaining. Some crappie, some yellow perch up to 12 inches. All of them going back. So I'll try to get back over to where it's about 4 foot. It's a little bit deeper, closer to the bank than it is out in the open here. It's kind of weird. But just had a pickerel bite me off. So I'm using light mono, of course, for panfish. So I'm going to go back up, kick my kayak sideways, and see if I can't get a couple more bites on the way down. Picked up a nice fine yellow perch as well. We picked up a nice yellow. That's a sign that fall is coming, fellas. That is a sign that fall is here, actually. It is fall already. It's October. We're in about a foot of water right now. There you go. Alright, so kick my motor off and just let the wind push me. And believe it or not, it's a mud flat here. It's actually mud. Mud warms up quick in the sun. Alright, now we should be good. Right along the edge of where the spatter dock would normally be, but it's dying off really, really quick. Really, really quick. And now, like, right on the money. It just wouldn't be a day of fall fishing out here, autumn fishing with jigs, without catching Mr. Toothy Critter.